So, take two. Hopefully, everything will be working fine this time. Once again, I'll answer the most famous question recently. Why do I wear these sunglasses indoors? 270-watt ring lights. I have to stare directly into them for hours sometimes during these East versus West live streams for maybe more than 7 hours. And that is not easy. If you sit in front of ring lights for 7 hours, you will see them even after 7 hours after they have been switched off. So that's kind of not cool for the eyes. That's why I wear them when I am inside. And in fact, it was one of the suggestions given to me from the viewers. I always watched Paul Italia do that, but I didn't ever kind of consider it that way, that it could be good for the eyes if you're sitting in front of these massive ring lights. But it was suggested to me by a viewer, so thank you whoever that was. It's bad that I forgot your name, but I think I'm getting benefited from it. So rest in peace, eyes. Yeah, some people just like to make fun of it. So in today's video, we will be discussing few topics. In one of the videos in which I discussed the main topic of Travis Bajent making a comeback. Maybe somebody was guessing that. I think Jerry was guessing that Travis maybe was talking about his broadcaster comeback, like he's going to be number one this time. Well, it isn't really a comeback, but Travis can always be joking. So this time in that same video, I said that I'll be discussing the topic of Sandris Chedis, the recent video that he uploaded, but I forgot because I didn't really have a bullet point to remember that. And a single take video is always difficult if you do not have some valid bullet points. So after that, we'll be discussing the world rankings, then the Kingsmove topic, and then finally, what was the third topic? Even I forgot, but we'll get to it soon. I'm still digging the Top Gun, Pradeep. Is it okay to train with LPG cylinders at home? It's perfect, man. It's perfect. You can do shoulders with them, maybe even lat rows if it's a filled cylinder. You can do a bunch of stuff with it, not a problem. Bicep curls. Just have a metal rod or something, then you can easily do double arm curls as well. Don't just try to grip that. Or if you're strong enough, just single arm curl it. Lots of good exercises can be done. Bro, please tell what's the matter between PAFI and IAF and which is genuine. Right now, PAFI is genuine and I'm not sure how they did that. So for about 45 plus years, IAF was basically a part of WAF. So whatever WAF is at world level, IAF is at Indian level. And just the local players who won Pro Punjab League, they came into existence and somehow they attended a WAF meeting, Asian Armwrestling meeting, and they just overthrew, man. It's like a military coup. So that was kind of interesting, and now PAFI is in charge. IAF is gone after 45 years of conducting national championships in India. So let's discuss the first topic, the video which Sandris Chedis uploaded. So let's be honest, he did give a bunch of excuses as to why he lost. He started the video by saying that, well, I'm not giving any excuses. But in my mind, giving excuses is a separate thing, and them being true or not is a separate thing. And sometimes maybe they're combined as well, but sometimes people like to say, well, it's not an excuse if it is true. And I'm like, no, it can be an excuse even if it is true. However, in my understanding, I've seen that almost 90% of excuses are always true. Not calling him out for that. He was just basically saying that he was sick, he was on antibiotics, which is obviously true if he's saying. And I think after the matches, you shouldn't mention them, even if they were true. They kind of take away from the opponent's victory. But what I do really applaud Sandris is for calling out the referees, and that's what this video is about. So Sandris says, you did great in that video. I really, really respect you. And I was calling out that being sick part, because being sick or not, that is 100% your responsibility. And you were not able to take care of your health. This is why I believe after the match, you shouldn't be mentioning to anyone that you were sick. Because it was nobody else's job, only your job. Nobody forced you to get sick. You had the full control. Maybe not the full control over your body, but however much control somebody had on your body, it was all you. That's what I'm trying to say. But calling out the referees, this is something that was beyond your control. And just like Sandris, every world champion arm wrestler should be calling out that. So he basically showed some screenshots where Sagov's shoulder was crossing the center. So Kingsmove, a flop press is a new Kingsmove in today's world. And It is getting more and more powerful, man. I'm not against it. I absolutely love love the flop press, and I absolutely loved the King's move. I love both of these moves. But my problem is that don't write rules that you're not going to follow. We are the only sport where even the top level guys say that not following the rules that we ourselves have written is good for the sport. Then why did you write those rules? That's my question. Remove the shoulder crossing the center line. Even Devon questioned that in the recent video. If you do not want to follow that, if it is being followed only, let's say, 2 out of 10 times, then that rule is basically non-existent. Remove that rule. Who was it who kind of created that rule? Was it Neil Pickup? Nope, I don't think so. I think Devon mentioned that there was a Canadian arm wrestler, Mornu. I forgot his name. Devon uploaded a video about it, and even I discussed. There was a long match basically that never ended at WAF. They both crossed their shoulders from the center table, and they were just sitting in that position. It was some Canadian arm wrestler that Devon practices with, and he used to arm wrestle back in the days, even before Devon Larratt. So that's how that rule was created. Get rid of it if you don't want to follow it, or follow it as much as you can. But the main referee always seems to be not bothered at all about and I'm now talking about the start of the match, when this is the only shoulder that he's going to look to, the right shoulder which is close to him, or the left shoulder if it is a left-handed match. So that's the problem that we have right now. Nobody's really too much worried or bothered about the shoulders, and it gives the inside arm wrestlers a really good deal. And Sandris was pissed off. You can genuinely tell. He said that at first, yeah, I did notice that, but not as much as I saw when I came back home and watched the videos. And he was genuinely pissed off because he cannot be reffing and arm wrestling at the same times. And sometimes the referees, they're kind of scared. They almost look at the athletes for confirmation. Bro, it's a foul. Are you okay with that? I used to call Christo Delijakov for that. He used to do that a lot, man. That guy would just look at the arm wrestlers after giving them a warning, and like almost in a scared manner, as if please don't tell me anything. I had to do this, bro. I had no other choice. That's how he gives fouls to people, and I don't really like that. The referees should be powerful. So once again, people like to say that I complain a lot about these things, but when you're the only one who is complaining about these things, you have to be loud, and you have to be frequently loud. I get no support on these topics, unfortunately, because if you're calling out these topics, then you're basically challenging the authority. If you're talking about the king of the table referees, then you may get into some bad terms with king of the table or East versus West for the same manner. And these arm wrestlers, that's why these pro arm wrestlers are not going to do that. That's why my respect to Sandris Sedis for calling that thing out. Well, I didn't pay that much attention to the match. There could have been some things in which he also got helped by the referees, where some calls may have been missed. I'm not sure about that, but I'm just guessing. So that's the thing. We always think Engin Terzi or all of the other promoters who take it seriously, they always believe in striving for excellence, better video quality, better audio quality. However, the audio quality was not really better this time, but if we look at the overall picture, they are constantly improving, and there is absolutely no doubt about that. So everything needs to be better, everything needs to be improving. Engin has said that we're not basically living if we're not improving. We need to constantly improve every single time, and I totally agree with that. But the problem here is that when was the last time you heard any promoters say that we strive for excellent reffing? Our referees make as little mistakes as possible. Our referees are the best. Well, they say that they are the best, but they never talk about how many mistakes they are making. Our referees in the previous match, after we did the analysis, made less than 10% mistakes, which is much higher than the market standard, which is much lower than the market standard. When was the last time you heard any of the promoters say that we strive for excellent reffing? I want to hear this term. Engin Terzi, please say that while promoting the matches. Talk about the referees. Our referees will, even though they are already at world level, sometimes people like to, and I'm calling out every single, like even the pro arm wrestlers, pro promoters for that, they are always like, well, our referees are really experienced. They've been reffing at WoW for 25 years, for 15 years, for 12 years. They're the master referees, so-called master referees. Just because you have been doing something for 2 decades does not mean that your mistake rate is for sure going to be lower than someone who's doing that for less than a year. There can absolutely be a referee who has refed maybe 25 matches in his life, and his vision, his reaction time, his intelligence, his situational awareness at the table is in fact better than who's been reffing for 20 years. I think it just makes sense. A guy who's been driving, let's say he's a family guy, he's been driving cars for 20 years and he's been driving safely. But maybe there's a guy who's been driving for 3 months and he can drive at a faster speed and even more safely. That's entirely possible. So just saying that our referees have been reffing matches at WAF, they're senior referees for 2 decades. So is that supposed to make us shut up about that topic? Just because they've been doing that for 20 years, it doesn't mean that their mistake rate is low. How about we discuss, how about the promoters should themselves or maybe hire someone else to do some analysis of the matches after the event has ended? Which referee made how many mistakes? And kind of attach that to their portfolio. Give them some extra incentives, $500 extra for any referees who do not make any mistakes in, let's say, 10 matches. Give them that incentive, and I think the referees should not be called out for that, and that's why I'm always mentioning the promoters in that, because the referees are going to be doing whatever the referees are being told to do by the organizers. If they say that lose rules, do not stop the matches on fouls, then the referee he's in an impossible situation, because what does he do? If he calls out a foul, then some people will say, well, it was just a micro foul, why did you call it? If he doesn't call out that foul, then the fans of the other athletes are going to say, if it was a foul, why didn't you call it? So that's an impossible job for the referees, and maybe I should have invited some referee to discuss that, but this is something that we should be discussing, and this is something I think you guys, I need your support. We all together should be calling out the mistakes. Well, we are humans, mistakes do happen. But the referees should be criticized if those things happen again and again. For once, you can forget to square the shoulders of the arm wrestlers. But if you forgot it 7 out of 10 times, I think you deserve to be called out. And that too in a very harsh manner. And it doesn't matter if you've been reffing for 2 decades or 5 decades. Monster Michael Todd versus Zaur versus Dennis, Monster Michael Todd versus Brazink, MMT versus Reno. Yeah, Brazink match was supposed to happen. Reno was going to be cool as well. Zaur Paizulais, I think his hand control, his top roll is going to be too much for Michael. Zaur versus Dennis, I think Dennis, that's a good match. That's a good match in my opinion. Experienced like Bart. Bart was also doing his job, whatever he was being told to do. Well, Rizzo looks scared because people complain in WAF he doesn't do that, but they don't have WAF rules in East versus West. Yeah, that's a big problem as well. Sometimes we have been brainwashed by the famous athletes who like to foul a lot. We have been brainwashed by them, almost all of us, that somehow the referees not calling out the fouls is a good thing for the growth of the sport. So those arm wrestlers are incredibly clever that they didn't make it about themselves. They didn't say that loose reffing is going to help us. They did say that it is good for you because you will get a better experience, the matches will not stop, and the growth of the sport is going to help all of you. So now it's all about us. And if there is one odd person out in that group who is calling this stuff out, then he's the enemy of the sport. That's a very cool way of dealing with things. Technology should be used in matches for fouls and pins. Absolutely. As every single person is saying that. And try mentioning any technological ideas about arm wrestling and people will be trolling you so hard. 1,000 times more than they do with the referees when they make terrible calls. Why Dennis looks sad? Dennis always looks sad. I watched 2 videos of Dennis, one on Arm Olymp and one on Body Mania channel. And every single time the dude is just... he's sad about something. Oh, they took too much blood out of me. How am I going to do anything? I'm like, bro, are you 6? I mean, come on, man. I am such a huge Dennis Siplenkov fan, but that graph is slowly going down. He's always, every single video, I have pain in here, I have pain there. We know that, bro. Why do you tell that every single video 3 times in a video? That's kind of getting problematic to my soul at this point of time. Every single time Dennis is mentioning that. And sometimes when I think about Dennis Siplenkov, okay, Dennis means good views. But when I watch the videos, try to write some bullet points, all I get is depression, sad comments, totally pessimistic views about everything. You cannot find a good wife. What if you have children? It's impossible. That's why I'm single. I'm like, bro, you're clearly overthinking about everything in life. My stream is always late. Why? I'm continuously 11 seconds behind. How do you know that you're 11 seconds behind? Sometimes when I watch the stream and I increase the speed, it increases the speed, which means I was few seconds behind, but the stream keeps on playing, and then 5 minutes later I increase the speed once again, then it increases the speed for another 5-10 seconds. So it happens. Yeah, man. Is it just me? To be honest, I don't get scared of many things, but when these popular arm wrestlers and in some of these emotional topics, I do get scared. That's why I didn't call Dennis out. But bro is like somebody mentioned in the comments, he's by far the saddest arm wrestler out there. Like, just watch. Maybe you didn't look at those videos with that perspective, but just for me, spend like maybe 15-20 minutes if that topic interests you. 2x speed. Go back to last 5-10 of the Dennis Siplenkov videos on any channel whatsoever. And just notice how many times he's talking about pain, how many times he's talking about bad things in life, how things are not like kind of fair and good, and how they took so much blood out of him. He wanted to do some workout, but how can I do something now? They took so much blood from me. And I was like, bro, come on, man. Don't work out then if it is so bad. If I click on the screen, it says 9 seconds. Okay, just increase the speed and you'll catch up, bro. Pradeep, I'm right that Samusha was pinned in the center round 1. I think it was... I missed that round 1. Now I remember I missed that round 1. I don't know what happened, but I tried to go back 2-3 times and watch it. While trying to do that, I missed round 2 as well. And then I had to watch round 2 on recap. People can't be sad because Pradeep would call them out. Because I'm a fan. If I was not a fan, like if I was just so hard rooting for Hermes Gasparini, I would be so happy, man. I would be so happy. Yes, the other guy is depressed and my man, Pasta Man, is going to destroy him. But no, I am a Dennis Siplenkov fan. That's why it is bothering me. You must have seen how much I was rooting for Dennis in the Devon Larratt match, even though I clearly knew that Dennis had basically no chances, and I predicted that as well, and I was still rooting for him. So I hope you get the point. His match with Devon was useless, dude. And just that Mark, good point, that money thing as well. I have called that out in a live stream, but I'm almost about to call it out in a video as well. After Dennis loses this match, I will be calling this out, or maybe in the prediction video. There is no way that Dennis is going to do anything in that match. Angin was saying, no, this can happen, that can happen. No, bro. Nothing can happen in that match. Dennis is going to get destroyed. Let's be honest about that. So, yeah, these are money matches, man. Like, no, can you believe it? My man didn't show, they don't even show us practice pulls. Okay, that's okay. No friendly match. They didn't do that. Why wouldn't you have any friendly practice match before going into these big super matches? That's kind of weird as well. No easy match, no progression. John Brzezinski, Devon Larratt, and then Levan Saginashvili. Are you kidding me, man? Come on, let's be realistic here. So, okay, Sandris, say this topic is covered. Bro, if you're watching this video, thank you for calling out the mistakes done by the referees. Please, referees, be strict. Please, promoters, give them some extra incentive. If they're going to get the same money, they're not going to try hard. Come on, let's be honest. And referees, it is impossible to pay the referees well in our sport, at least as of now. So please, give them some little extra incentive, and they'll do a better job. Emperor Pradeep will never allow you to be sad. You will always be happy. That's the spirit, man. That's the spirit. Like if I'm sad, what would I do if I'm sad? I will not make a video. I'll just be sad and get over with it and come back on YouTube. Okay, I'm sad. Let's switch the camera on. Bro, my hip hurts. I mean, bro. Win, Dennis, win. We want you to see winning. We wanted you to destroy everyone, and we still want to see that. Gamarjoba, Georgi, Rogorkar. Can Dennis stop Georgi's top roll? I hope so, and I think so. Duelist, I think Todd. What Todd? So next topic. What was the next topic? Let's check it out. Photos. World rankings. For that, I'll quickly have to share my screen with you. I hope it wasn't too bad of a rant. I hope it doesn't piss off too many people. All right. Where's the screen share? Screen. And there we go. So these are the rankings. You may have watched them before as well, because I think only one Levan Saginashvili's position has changed. So at number 1, we have Levan Saginashvili, the mountain. And we're not really going to talk about left-handed rankings, or maybe we will. Let's see. Devon has slipped to number 2, Hermes Gasparini number 3. But let's try to take a look at this ranking stuff from the bottom. Let's try to just figure out quickly how accurate they really are. So Vitaly Laletin is at number 10. But that's because he has had only one match, I guess, at East versus West. And Rivaz Lutidze, wow. That's kind of insane that Rivaz Lutidze, the giant, the beast, that we all were looking forward to be the next big thing, is not even in the top 10 list. Wow, that's shocking. That shows that the level is there. Rivaz Lutidze, Denis Siplinkov, maybe he can crack Denis, maybe he cannot. Not sure about that. Rivaz is a beast, man. He can definitely beat some people on this list. Maybe even Jerry Cadret, who knows. So let's go to Vitaly Laletin. Vitaly, I think, will for sure beat Artem Morozov. Vitaly will destroy Denis Siplinkov without any problem whatsoever. Vitaly versus Georgi Svetkov. Now that's an interesting match. Georgi can take Vitaly's wrist, but Vitaly, if he goes for the defensive low hand top roll, he can hang Georgi up for sure. So I'll have this match as 50-50. Kordecha versus Vitaly, not really sure. Once again, a kind of a 50-50 match. Gennady versus Vitaly, once again, I'm not sure. Maybe Gennady's flop press will work. Maybe Gennady is a slight favorite. Jerry versus Vitaly. Jerry is a favorite, but once again, a very slight favorite. Hermes just beat him. So yeah, Vitaly is kind of underrated in this list just because he has not competed enough. Morozov, can he beat anyone above him? Denis Siplinkov, a peak Denis? No, I don't think so. He cannot even beat him in practice matches. Georgi Svetkov, Morozov, he already lost to him. Kordecha, Morozov, he beat him on his left when he said that he was about 80%. And left is supposed to be Kordecha's strong arm. So yeah, maybe Morozov can beat Kordecha on the right as well. Gennady Kuikvinia versus Morozov. No, bro. I think Gennady is going to run through Morozov. Jerry versus Morozov can get interesting. And these three will beat him, I think. Denis Siplinkov. Denis will lose to Vitaly as we discussed. Alex Kordecha. I think Alex will beat, maybe. Right now he's strong enough to beat Denis, but it can be close. Gennady will beat Denis. Jerry, I think, will also beat Denis. And these three will for sure beat Denis once again. So these are the rankings. Let's see. Vitaly, I think he should be above Artyom. And Alijan Muratov will hook Kordecha maybe. Alijan Muratov would beat Artyom Morozov as well, I think. But not Vitaly for sure. Corey West, Wagner Bortolato. Will Wagner beat Corey? I'm not sure. So these are the rankings. And now let's see what the X Sports World Wrestling Arm Wrestling rankings say. Are these similar or not? Okay, maybe we can just straight away look at the comparison in both. I've just put these two photos together. Let me just check the chat quickly. I hope I'm not talking all by myself and you can hear me. I don't see Gennady destroying Morozov. I see that. I think he's just an overall more powerful athlete. Yeah, maybe Morozov can top roll him, but he will still get the flop press into position and get the job done. So here we have Levan, okay. Devon, it's same. Hermes Gasparini, same. Jerry Cadret, same. Gennady. Prudnik, okay. Prudnik is still hanging on there. Evgeny Prudnik has I think it was one win that he had, or maybe not even one win. Prudnik is someone who has never ever defeated anyone who is in the top 10 rankings, and he's still constantly maintaining this top 7 or 8 ranking for past 3-4 years. For how long, I don't know. But he has never defeated anyone who's in that. When he defeated Morozov was nowhere near top 10 rankings. Clearly, he's not beaten anyone on this lift. Don't know how he stands there still, unfazed. Prudnik is an interesting character here. Then number 6, okay, and Kordecha comes at 7. That's about same. Then Georgy Svetkov. Then instead of Denis, they have Artyom Morozov. Then the Vitaly Lalitin. So basically, the list is almost the same, and you can never agree with the list. If you, and rankings are something like, if you disagree with the rankings, if those make you furious, then there's something wrong with you. If you 100% agree with any of the rankings, then also there's something wrong with you because rankings can never be accurate as long as they are done by some human intervention, and they will always be done with some human intervention because there are just not enough matches to let the software decide who is the best guy among these top guys. So that's my take on rankings. Clearly not accurate, but clearly it is impossible to make them accurate. So from whatever data we have, I think it's kind of cool, and we should go with it. Now let's see the next topic. Kingsmove topic. Okay, the referees topic we have already discussed. That was the Sandre this topic. Now Kingsmove. So Devon recently uploaded a video, and I tried to check the comments if somebody is mentioning that same thing or not, but no, almost nobody was mentioning that, and that topic is about the Kingsmove. So Devon basically kind of indirectly said that please remove the shoulder below the table in neutral or losing position being a foul rule. I don't like that rule. Let's be honest, that's what Devon said in the later part of that video. I'm not sure if many people didn't get that. I'm not sure if people didn't care about that. Let's see what the issue there is. Morozov versus Kordecha was one of the best matches ever. Yeah, that was great. That was amazing. Pradeep, the 6'6", 135 kg Indian giant arm wrestler, is not in that list. How is that possible? Yeah, those guys who made that list, yeah, they should get something for that. We are all obsessed with watching men holding hands with other men. Something wrong with all of us. I did on Devon's video. Okay, you did comment. I'll have to check it out, but can you mention briefly what was that about, and what's your take on that, Mark? I'll be interested to know that. Devon wants Kordecha to use illegal kings on Levan. Kordecha, yeah, man. I was saying that in 2022 Kordecha versus Dave Chaffee match. I think it was 22, yeah. I was like, bro, please Kingsmove before the match. I was like, that's how I predicted Kordecha to win that match, and that's how I saw it going. Maybe in the first round, Kordecha hits the Kingsmove, he tires Dave Chaffee out, and then after that, he'll flash pin him. That's what I predicted. Yeah, that's what Devon said, allowed under the table. So Devon's reasoning behind that is going under the table, dropping your shoulder under the table. At first, it used to be the top part of the shoulder, but then the guys saw that guys like Michael Todd have that thick of a shoulder, so it, even if their humerus is that much declined, still the top part of the shoulder is basically above the table, and I think it should be above the elbow pad. I'm not sure why they talk about the just the table, but the rule changed to basically your this bone, humerus bone, cannot be in a declined position. So this rule made it more strict, and before it was only in losing position that your shoulder cannot dip below the table. And losing position for this rule, I don't remember, because that rule got changed like maybe 5 years ago. I'm not sure if losing position was that 1/3 the lower part. If that was losing position, then basically very close to the Kingsmove, very close to the losing the pin pad, you cannot Kingsmove. But now it's changed to even neutral or losing position, so you have to be slightly this side, your winning side, to hit the Kingsmove to go below the table, which is basically then called a top roll, because in top roll 90% of the times your shoulder does go below the table if you're just trying to finish your opponent with pure side pressure and back pressure. So Devon said that this rule exists to prevent you from an injury. It's not because dipping below the table kind of gives you some kind of an unfair advantage. But I think it does. Yeah, maybe in the rules it was not written that way. Maybe those guys didn't consider it that way, that it is going to give someone a fair advantage when they wrote that rule. And Devon is trying to find a loophole in that rule by saying that, see guys, that rule was made to for the amateurs, to protect them, because when they drop below the table, it gives them a chance, a possibility to get hurt. And in professional league, you should be allowed to hurt yourself to win the match. It's all or nothing. That's why this rule should not be followed by East versus West. Well, it did say that it's not mandatory, but I would really like it if East versus West and almost everyone use that rule. So basically, the long story short is Devon wants that there should be no rule against the Kingsmove. You can and you should go however under the table you want, in whatever position you want. What's your take on this? Engin has showed us why going under the table and open arm top roll. And this is the thing, that now the referees have started being strict. Even in 2022, Devon was under the table against Prudnik for 10 seconds, maybe 8 seconds before the referees called a foul on Devon. And the rule even at that time said immediate foul. As soon as you dip below the table, immediate foul. Maybe at that time they had a warning thing, but warning is also like stand up, okay, no, foul. That's what a warning means. But they still took about 8 to 10 seconds to do that. But now Devon wants that rule to be gone once finally they have actually started enforcing that rule. So Mark wrote under Devon's video, I said, Devon, you got together with Core Sports and introduced the decline humerus rule so you could beat Monster Michael Todd, and now you want it back. Nice, Michael will be thrilled. That's an interesting take. Did Devon say that in the rules meeting? I'll have to check that out. I agree with Devon, above table Kingsmove is almost impossible against pressers. Okay, that's an interesting take as well. So now the press seems to be bothering people more than the Kingsmove, because that's in 2022, 21, 20, basically since 2018 when Monster beat Devon, everything was about Kingsmove for next 4 years. And somehow suddenly the Kingsmove topic just died. Nobody's been talking about it. Nobody's been talking about it for more than a year now. Double Kings is best. Yeah, I do like it. I personally love the Monster Michael Todd style Kingsmove. Nothing wrong with it. Give guys with a weak hand and wrist to still compete, and use endurance to bleed out opponents, brings more diversity. In fact, Mark, it was for guys with actually a strong hand and wrist, kind of strong, but weak arm. That's why their arm will open up. They'll give up their arm just to gain some hand control. Well, maybe in the center, their hand would also be weak compared to their opponent. But when it gets stretched out there, then their pronation overcomes their cupping. Press doesn't bother me, but flopping wrist before the go is the same. And I am the only one calling that out. Did you see somebody asked Engin, is starting in a flop wrist position allowed before the go? And Engin didn't answer that question. See, that is something that I don't like, and I'm not sure. I was not reading the comments. I just had my headphones on and the phone was somewhere else. I was working on something, and the question was simple. Engin is starting with a flopped back wrist like Camille did. I think he mentioned that. Is that allowed or not? The question was, is starting like this allowed or not? Engin's answer to that question was, I have not watched the Kamil Jablonski match. I'll have to check that. And I'm like, bro, what does that have to do with checking that match out? Let's assume we're not even talking about this match. Is that allowed or not? Give us a simple answer. Why do you have to check that match whether Kamil started like that or not? So he clearly did not want to answer this question. I don't know why. And nobody seems to be calling that out. Give me one name, a YouTuber who called this thing out, in the Kamil versus Devon match, who called this thing out in the Kamil versus Cody Spur match, who called this thing out in the Kamil versus Tobias Sporong match. And don't get me wrong, I always congratulate Kamil after all of these matches, and I'm a big fan. I think that guy is doing some great stuff. But I just have that problem with that rule being forced, and I have a problem with 50% of the referees, even more than that, the so-called master WAF referees, not even knowing that this is a rule. The so-called master referees, experienced referees, do not even know that you cannot start with the wrist like that. Ask them. Even after discussing this topic so much in multiple of my videos, they still don't know that this rule exists. In your country, if you know some of the referees, you talk with them, ask them this rule, or try to start with them when they're reffing the match. Try to start like that. Let's see if they stop you and tell you that no, the wrist not only cannot be like this, it cannot be like this before the go, because it's basic simple interpretation of the rule. Your wrist and your opponent's wrist has to be straight before the go. It never says, nowhere it says that it cannot be bent inwards before the go. It simply says it has to be straight. This is not a straight wrist. And this is a simple thing that the referees who have somehow been reffing for such a long time, who have got their certificates, they don't know this rule. Or maybe I'm wrong. I tried to ask this because I was like, bro, if I'm interpreting this rule wrong and I don't know it, then I look like an idiot online. I asked this to, I think, Luke, and Luke confirmed, yes, it does mean that your wrist cannot be bent back. Are you blind? I asked this question like 30 times. What is your view on? Then blind is the keyword, because it immediately, I probably have more than 100 words on my screen at a time, and it immediately caught my attention, blind word. Vitali versus Devon match. I think it's a cool match. Devon beat Hermes beat Vitali, but I think it's not going to work like that. When Devon is not going to have the height advantage, he may run into some trouble. You can buy tickets and go yourself now. Yeah, the crowd was huge, I heard. Huge. Pradeep Shingadse from Georgia is really strong arm wrestler. Pradeep Shingadse. There was one match as well where he said, don't move, ready, go. Must be confusing when used the other word. Yeah, that's interesting as well. I see Vitali and Devon 4-3. Should be awesome. Yeah, I think that's going to be an amazing match for sure. So what was the last topic? The Kingsmove topic. So I think some people do agree with Devon on this, and I mostly I will believe that will not agree with it, because Michael Todd is going to use that rule for sure if it is allowed, because Michael's entire battle in all of his matches is just like barely keeping his shoulder above the table, and he will gladly go below if the referees. But Engin will for sure. Engin will die before he implements that rule. But sometimes Devon almost convinced Engin for a running foul rule, and I think it did convince him. Engin was talking about it, and Engin was one of the biggest, I'll not say haters, but biggest non-supporters of the running foul system. So Devon can probably convince Engin about anything, maybe even in this rule which Engin used to speak so highly against. DIL87 $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. Thank you. You are amazing. Monster Michael Todd and Devon going under the table is so damn ugly for the sport. The press over the center line is a counter to you going under the table. Both ugly. That's interesting. You got a thumbs up and you got a heart. Thank you, brother, once again. Yes, I think the rules are already written, except for a few things. I think the rules are mostly written correctly. We don't need to change anything about it, except for that stupid rule that I've gotten so sick and tired of calling out, which is false start being only a warning. And now we have 2 warnings or something like that, which is absolutely crazy. So false start should always be a foul. That's criminal if you do false start, in my opinion. John Brezink at this moment cannot beat Devon in one. Bro, John Brezink cannot beat Devon in one round for like past 7 years. What are you talking about? I think there's still good matches for John Brezink, but those good matches, close matches, are not going to be really cool for John if he loses them. For example, the Leonidas Arcona match. That's absolutely awesome. But I do believe John has a huge chance of losing that match, huge chance. And I'm not sure how much the fans are going to enjoy seeing John lose to Leonidas Arcona. But that match is going to be an absolute all-out war before I believe John eventually gets gassed out. Kingsmove gives a lot of unfair advantage. Imagine you are doing that against Levan, he will break your arm. What if Levan does the King's move? Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. I got the connection fixed, and now it feels so good. It's saying that 16,000 something bitrate is higher than the recommended bitrate. And like, that's cool. That's what I wanted. Usually it says that it's like terribly low. Not YouTube is not receiving enough bitrate. Your video is going to suck. And I'm like, bro, tell me what I'm supposed to do about that. Don't just tell me the problem. Give me the solution, YouTube. Parker, respect your opinion but disagree. We need diversity. Watch Devon's King's move versus Chafee at WL. Superb contest. Pradeep, I feel like that Vitali will beat Devon worse than Levan. Vitali initial hits are harder than Levan considering how he was flash pinning Hermes but elbow fouls saved Hermes. Yeah, Vitali looked strong in those rounds, man. He looked strong and I kept on shouting, bro, Vitali, if you're flash pinning Hermes once you are on this side, then do not fight a losing battle once you have the buckle on your hand. But he kept on fighting that losing battle. Why when Devon loses left hand to Dennis, it's a huge deal, but Hermes loses left, nobody says a thing. Because Devon has been number one, self-proclaimed, both left and right arm. I think it was officially number one because it was very kind of good set of affairs for Devon in that 2012 match. Denis Siplenkov was always destroying Andrei Pushkar, always constantly beating him. In one tournament, finally, Andrei Pushkar manages to flash pin Denis Siplenkov a couple of times and he takes the throne. He becomes the number one arm wrestler, and a few months later, Devon beats Andrei Pushkar and he becomes the number one arm wrestler. But then after that, Denis beats Pushkar again, but he never gets that title back because now the title is with Devon Larratt. So that was the kind of the events that played out, because of which Devon became the number one guy in the world. So that's why, because Devon was the best guy on the left arm as well, that's why it's considered more, but I don't think so. I really disliked that when Hermes took that match and every single video is like, my left arm is only 80%. Yeah, why 80%? Give a percentage. Tell them that your left arm is only 10%. Then nobody will give credit to your opponent. That's kind of a bad thing. If you take a match on your left arm, then I think you shouldn't even mention your right arm. It has nothing to do with your right arm. Why do you keep on mentioning every single time that how much weaker your left is compared to your right arm? That in my mind is absolutely insane. You're already giving an excuse for your loss when it happens, if it happens, and when it happens in this case. DIL 87, thank you, brother. $5 American. You guys, Americans, sometimes we like to say that North Americans, but I think Canada gets involved in this great topic to discuss for almost no reason whatsoever, because it comes under North America, but it's mostly Americans which are carrying forward this payment money driven arm wrestling forward, because you guys are single-handedly carrying forward and I really appreciate that, carrying forward the pay-per-view world. You're the only ones buying it. Well, not the only ones, but most of the pay-per-views I'm assuming comes from there. Super chats on any single channel comes from USA, most of them. So thank you guys. You guys are awesome. And I'm excluding Canadians from this one. For this one time, I've always included you guys. And thanks to all of them. Not excluding Mark though. But I think Mark may also be from US originally. Mark, can you tell us where are you from? Defense Foster, another legend. So whenever it comes to anything money, USA baby, like Travis Bagent. You North American have to get smaller. I will hold a grudge against Hermes for one going after Pradeep, two making excuses how I didn't like the stunt by Muratov. I think it was amazing, bro. As you were mentioning, Mark, earlier, the Pradeep, Soros Fund. What does Soros mean? Let me search. Or is it a typing mistake? George Soros? What the fuck? I don't need to see George Soros. Is that a word? Bro, what is the current world rankings? We discussed that for like 10 minutes, brother. DIL87. Salute to you as well, brother. So yeah, Mark, as we were discussing the difference of opinions, I think it was amazing because when was this rules meeting held that you can only disrespect your opponent before the matches and not after the matches? And when this rules meeting was being held, when this rule was made, why wasn't Alijan Muratov invited to that? Why wasn't I being invited to that? Tell me. How many guys were invited to that rules meeting when this arm wrestling community made a general, unspoken, unheard of rule that it's totally okay to trash talk your opponent, to disrespect them before the match, just like Devon follows that rule always. And as soon as the match is over, as soon as the final pin happens, even until the final pin, everything is okay. You can trash talk as much as you want. You can basically do whatever you want without getting too far with involving families and stuff. Other than that, you can basically do anything as much as you want, no matter how much it disrespects your opponent. But as soon as the fourth pin happens, the match is over. Now you need to be 100% respectful. Tell me, when was this rule made? Who made it? And why wasn't I told about it? Or more importantly, Alijan Muratov. So I think whatever Alijan did was absolutely amazing. He should have asked someone to give him a English translation for that one thing. Like, I think he can speak that much English. He should have said, bro, your wrist is terribly weak. You should train with that. He should have said that in English. Then I would have enjoyed it even more. Americans had enough of sponsoring Zelensky and now they sponsor Pradeep. Give them the money. Give me the money. I don't care. It's amazing. Sometimes people try to trick me with this stuff. They were like, bro, who do you support? Is it Ukraine or is it Russia? And I was like, I support both. And I don't support anyone. I just don't care. Why does it have to be my issue? I don't care if Russia wins that war. I don't care if Ukraine wins that war. I don't care if Ukraine is wrong. I don't care if Russia is wrong. I don't care if they both are wrong or if they both are right. That does not bother me one bit. I don't watch the news. It doesn't concern me. Even if it does, there's nothing I can change about that. Once I get that powerful that I can do something about the war, you'll see me taking sides and giving some ideas and things, suggestions that they should be doing. Agreed, no rules. I'm just against trolling or disrespecting in general. There are no rules unwritten, yes, but yeah, I think if you trash talk, if you like to trash talk, especially like Hermes Gasparini before the match, then be prepared to take that after the match as well, not just before the match. It was your fault that you let the guard off after the match. The other guy was still trying to punch you. Desperation move is not allowed because of safety. It gives unfair advantage. Is not allowed not because of safety. It gives unfair advantage. Okay. Devon giving excuses and twisting the rules again as usual. I thought some people will be speaking about that in the comments, but maybe Mark posted his comment a little bit later. I just watched that video within the first hour it was uploaded, I guess. Pradeep, if you search the rules, the general rules said the referee can disqualify if you disrespect the athlete. I have read those rules and it says specifically about the referees as well. You cannot disrespect a referee. But we see arm wrestlers cursing the referees. Pradeep is next Modi. Pradeep for the president, prime minister. Hermes knew Alijan was too much. Why he started talking about his right arm. Yeah, that's not cool, brother. Not cool. Like Engin got mad when somebody mentioned the WL hammer, and it was like, bro, I think we should talk about East versus West title. This is something that he should say whenever whenever somebody mentions about their right arm as well when they're about to have a left arm match. How are we going to make left arm great if we keep on comparing it to right arm? Let's treat it as a completely, almost not a separate event, but just don't mix those two things up. Don't just try to make everything about the right arm. We don't have enough left arm matches anyways. Hermes knew Alijan, okay. MMT's hand is so weak that it's going on the go. I don't understand why Michael keeps on hitting sideways like that and then he loses his hand. How about just try to hit defensively like Devon used to do? If disrespecting the referees is disqualification, Devon would not be even top 10. That's a good point. I'm sure you can beat Brazing now, arm wrestling news. I'll be able to beat Brazing if he lives up to 100 years of age. Maybe then I can beat him. Not before 100. How is Hermes left number 5? I'm not sure. Morozov, Muratov. I think Dadikian will hook him as well without much trouble. 3. Kordecha 4. Vitali 5. Levan 6. Yeah, maybe not even top 10 if everyone trains their left arm for even a month. Muratov is top 1. You could have just written 1 without mentioning top. 1 is already top. There is no 0 ranking. Think only Vitali maybe have 30% chance. I think Vitali will top roll Muratov. But in practice polls, Dadikian was almost forcing the hook on him. So we don't know. And this is something weird as well because Matyushenko won the match. I think he didn't defend his left arm title, or did he? Or maybe he did once, but then he gets a shot at the higher weight category. How about we first give the dominant champion a shot against Matyushenko's title? I think before Matyushenko versus Morozov happened, we should have seen him versus Alijan Muratov first. And I think Alijan beats both of them. Engin, if Engin wants to see Alijan holding 3 belts, I think Devon was not able to do that, but he will do that. Alijan will do that. Give Alijan the next match as Matyushenko and next match after that against Morozov, and I'm telling you guys, that guy will be holding 3 belts. And he can cut down to 95 kilos as well. And then who's that? Artem Tainov, 4 belts. Are you kidding me? I never thought about that. That's literally a possibility. I'm telling you guys, give Alijan his next match against Artem Tainov. He beats him. Give Alijan the next match after that against Matyushenko, and then Artem Morozov. I can guarantee you, I'll put money on that. The man will have 4 titles because he's 103 kilos. I don't think he'll have much trouble cutting to 95 kilos. 4 belts. Can you guys imagine that? I had that topic in my mind. I'll discuss that. Alijan is, in my mind, he's easily right now pound for pound. People say that Devon is pound for pound. His right arm is the best, but Alijan at 103 kilos, man, I think if we consider all time, Alijan's left is the top 3, one of the top 3 strongest pound for pound arms ever. And in that list, I'm including John Brzezinski in no particular order. I'm including Oleg Zok at about 82 kilos, 2018 version. Maybe he was a little bit heavier. And I'm including Alijan Muratov and no particular order. In that list, in my mind, I think Oleg Zok should be higher than Brzezinski for one reason. Pound for pound I'm talking about. Because Oleg beat Pushkar while weighing like 82 kilos. John Brzezinski at 95 couldn't do that to prime Pushkar. Yes, he beat him, but that was when Pushkar was like really young and still coming up. Only few years in the sport, maybe 6 years in the sport. After that, Pushkar started flash spinning John Brzezinski. So any prime 95 kilo version of John Brzezinski, I don't think he would have beaten prime Pushkar. And Oleg Zok was doing that while weighing 82-83 kilos. That makes me believe that Oleg's left arm was pound for pound more stronger than John. But then Oleg may have had a weakness against inside games, which we clearly saw. But no weakness in John's game. So maybe that kind of levels it out. So Zok, Alijan Muratov and John Brzezinski in no particular order. Do you agree with or disagree with this list? Top 3 pound for pound strongest arms in the world ever. Weight is not the determining factor. John beat Cleve Dean regularly and Cleve Dean was possibly the heaviest arm wrestler ever. Yeah. Bro, give Vitali match for number 1. Yeah, Vitali should get that match and I think he will take the title from anyone. in John's time left. I'm not talking about John's left arm, bro. I'm talking about John's right arm. Oleg Zok's left arm and Alijan Muratov's left arm. In any matter, Engin is totally against you. Ervis face round 1 was wake up call after he hit on Vom. Will Alijan hard to watch, yeah. So it's about 55 minutes. Thank you guys for watching. This live stream was nice. 100 viewers watching. A couple of super chats, which is always cool. And new members. 43 likes only. That's disappointing. 656 views. Average view duration 6 minutes 26 seconds. Pradeep Levan should cut to 1350 kg. Compete 10x. What are you saying, man? Show us how good. Why no? Why should he cut weight? He shouldn't. He shouldn't. Alan Zolo pound for pound. He was getting his wrist taken. He was just winning with side pressure in his own weight category. I'm not sure if I would consider him pound for pound the strongest. Thanks for watching. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. I'll show you an ad first for sure. Bye.